Hi, everyone. Welcome on an episode of Appetite for Collectibles. This Wednesday, or sorry, this Thursday. As you guys all know, I usually do my shows like either Monday or Wednesday, but today's show, we could not miss it. I know it was a reschedule from this past weekend, so I appreciate you guys watching it today because I know I was sick. But let's just bring them on stage. I'm so excited to bring onto the show Nelson Hall.
Hello.
Hi, Nelson. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. How are you doing?
I'm good. Again, thank you so much for rescheduling with me. I was so sick this past weekend that my voice was very raspy and I felt bad because every time if I spoke for more than I want to say 10 minutes, I could not stop coughing.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, but I'm glad you're better.
Yes.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm super excited about this. It's funny. I had met Dominic at a show last year in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
He was there representing Lauren Peterson.
Oh, right.
Getting to talk to him for a while.
Yeah.
And then we just like geeked out and became really good friends, and we were just nerding out about Star Wars. And then when I saw that he was advertising for ICC, which I know you're going to be there.
Right.
You know, I said to him, I was like, oh man, I would love to talk to Nelson Hall. I was like, there's a couple things about him that I truly like love. And he was like, yeah, no worries. He's like, let me ask him. And when you said yes, I was like, yay.
Well, I'm happy to be here.
Thank you. Yeah. So you're in California?
Correct. Yeah. Northern California. Yeah.
Nice. I've only been to San Francisco. I truly loved California. Everybody there was super nice. So I'm excited to go back for Celebration.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be a big deal, I'm sure.
Yeah, but most of you guys will probably get invited from ILM because it's a big deal. It's the
Maybe,
50th.
Yeah, I hope so. That'd be great.
Yeah. So let's get started with you. And how did you, when you were a kid, when you woke up, did you ever think that or had hopes in being in the industry that you are now?
Not directly, kind of indirectly. When growing up, I was a huge fan of Disneyland.
Okay.
And I really, in my teenage years, I just was enthralled with that place. And I kind of had hopes and dreams, I think, at that point of maybe being an Imagineer for Disney at some point. You know, the people that create and dream up and design the attractions and the theming and all that. I thought that would be, just amazing. So that was kind of where my head was at, because that was pre-Star Wars. See, Star Wars didn't come out until '77, and that was like the year after I graduated from high school.
Oh wow!
So when Star Wars came around and I saw that, I kind of did a reset, and thought, I want to do that. I want to find out how these people made this magic up on the screen, and so that's when I kind of started thinking about going into visual effects.
That's awesome. Yeah, I know. As I was younger, I was the same way. I loved Disney. I was enthralled with everything that was going on. Everything was very colorful. Even with the Disney films, I was completely obsessed with it as a child. And luckily I live about 2 hours away from Disney. So occasionally when I want to act like a child for the day, I'll drive up there and go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if I was put in your same spot and, saw Star Wars, I would want to do the same thing. I would want to be a part of what makes, Imagineers.
Yeah. So yeah, that was kind of what, where my head was at when I was a child and when I was dreaming about such things.
And did you do a lot of like model building when you were younger?
Not a ton of model building, though I was creative. I did some drawing and tried to kind of make things. My dad was kind of a amateur woodworker, and so we had tools in the garage kind of thing, and so I would try to make stuff, out of balsa wood and whatever. whatever materials and paint and whatever I could get my hands on. And it was pretty crude at that time, but it definitely, that's how it started. It kind of got nurtured along the way, and I was definitely into art. Took
Okay.
art classes in high school and junior high, actually. Junior high and high school, I took art classes, and then pursued later. Didn't go to college right away, but I did eventually go to college, and I majored in art, sculpture emphasis.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
So, how did the introduction to ILM come to be?
Well, it's interesting because it was while I was going to San Francisco State University in San
Hmm.
Francisco, and I had a professor there, and it wasn't even for an art class. It was for a GE class called Speech 101. And over the course of the semester, I had to get up and give 2 speeches in front of the class, and one was informational and one was persuasive. Well, I did my informational speech on the art of visual effects,
Okay.
and and this would have been in the 80s, and so she was so impressed with how that speech went that she said, "Oh, I ought to introduce you to a friend of mine named Mark Thorpe, who's a model maker at ILM." And so, my jaw dropped to the floor, and I said, that would be amazing. And so she did. She set it up, and I met Mark. Mark's no longer with us, but he back then he was a model. He started as a model maker for ILM on Empire. He did some of the. He was a machinist and also did some of the like the Cloud City buildings,
Yeah.
the towers and the things on Besman. And anyway, he kind of took me under his wing and you know mentored me, so to speak, and that was how my connection kind of came to ILM. And it took a while. He was able to get me in. The first time I worked there was on a project called Body Wars, which
Hmm.
this would have been about 1988. Body Wars was a motion simulator ride that was in Epcot in Disney World. So once again, that Disney connection.
Yeah.
And it's a ride where the audience gets miniaturized and goes inside the human body. It's no longer there. Sadly, I never got to ride it, even though I worked on it a little bit. But
Oh.
that was my first project, and
Oh,
then
wow.
I came back. He was able to get me back in there for an interview at the very beginning of the '90s, and that's when I was in the model shop from then on, pretty much. That was kind of
That's insane how like it works. You gave this incredible speech. Your teacher was impressed by it and
yeah, yeah.
how it works that she
Right.
actually knew somebody that worked at
I know.
ILM.
I know. It was just such a small world sometimes, and
Yeah. I
that she knew somebody. And Mark later told me, I got a chance some years later to thank Mark for that break, for getting me in, and he said a really nice thing to me. He said, I only got your toe in the door, but if they didn't like you or if you weren't doing a good job, you would have been gone a long time ago. And so he said, so you've proven yourself, and so yeah, it was nice to hear that.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Uh, that goes to show that he was probably really happy with the decision of getting you in.
Yeah, he was good that way. He was generous about trying to help people, and that was nice. I was fortunate to be one of the people he helped, so that was great.
That's nice. I like hearing stuff like that. It's
Yeah,
always you were at the right place at the right time.
right, right, right.
So I had found out something very interesting, that you actually had an industry named after you.
Yeah, I guess so. I think that comes from the David West Reynolds book, the Dorling Kindersley publication called the Star Wars Encyclopedia or Dictionary or
Hmm.
something like that, cross section book that came out. And David he was around back in those days at Lucasfilm and writing these books. And I also worked on a couple of props in that book. In fact, the Stormtrooper helmet above my head here, That's the cutaway stormtrooper helmet that appears in that book.
Oh, wow.
So I did that, and I also did. Several of us appeared as the Cantina band members in that book, and I reproduced a couple of the musical instruments, and also played one of the musicians, playing one of my instruments. But anyway, yeah, David was kind enough to name an industry after me in that book, Nell Hall Industries or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
That's awesome.
yeah.
Yeah, I love that you did work on Attack of the Clones. I feel like they do not give that movie so much credit. I actually enjoy that film. Visually, I enjoy that film. It's a very beautiful film to look at.
Yeah.
And yeah, I was impressed to know that you worked on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you did a few of like the visual arts and stuff.
I did. I was mainly I did some of the Geonosis landscape, like the execution arena.
Yeah.
I was on the crew that sculpted that, which was this
Wow.
massive model, like, I don't know, 20 feet across probably. And we had to build it in sections, almost like pieces of pie. It was carved out of this foam urethane, very kind of nasty dust that gets in your eyes and stings like crazy. But yeah, we created this thing that looked like it had been, because the Geonosians are kind of like termites almost, the way and so they somehow they've created this massive execution arena, and so we had to build it in sections because that's the only way. They would only put part of it together at a time and light it and shoot it, get the cameras in there, and then if they had to get a reverse angle, they'd bring the other pieces in, move those pieces out, and shoot it in a different direction. So it was quite an undertaking to shoot that model.
Oh wow, that's really interesting to know that it was done that way.
Yeah.
Everybody always talks about CGI and all the different ways of how they're filming.
Mm-hmm.
But still, I love that I feel like it looks more realistic to me as opposed to CGI.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that to my and I'm old school. I mean, I grew up with the practical effects and the three-dimensional objects, the models, and so forth. And just the way light falls on a real object, just the detail. CGI is pretty. I mean, it's come a long way, but to me, sometimes it looks a little like a video game, rather than reality. Not always, but a lot of time, so I guess I'm biased toward, the original artifacts. And it was always cool because at the end of the film, George has this massive archives that was, amassed over time for the filming of, the first three films in the original trilogy. And by Return of the Jedi, they gathered all these models together and creatures and puppets and everything. They decided that they better start an archives, which they did.
Yeah.
And it's just amazing to see. I mean, those things are like museum pieces, even though a lot of cases they were built very quickly with just having it in mind that they were just going to be shot from a certain angle and that sort of thing. But still, you see these things for real, and they're just, some of them, they're just amazing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Ugh, so lucky. So, so I know you've made a couple of cameos on some of the films.
Yeah.
It's funny, like before we hopped on live,
yeah,
I had said to you that you need to be part of a Boba Fett club, and they need to have like a whole con just dedicated to all the people who have played Boba Fett's.
Right.
It's a lot. It's It's Dickie Beer, Tamora Morrison. You've got Jeremy Bulloch, you, Don Bees. Who else? I think it's like 6 or 7.
Yeah, I mean, I guess you want to throw Daniel Logan in there as
Daniel Logan.
Yeah, and then John Morton. Am I saying that?
I think so.
Yeah. I know there are a lot of us. Various stunt people wore it, and just over time. Oh, Mark Austin. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Mark Austin.
Yeah.
He was actually my first interview I ever did.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah,
very nice guy.
he's another ILMer. He was there on the CG side, I think, and we got to do the part with in a New Hope special edition.
Yeah, and his story was funny because he told me that he was just working one day at ILM and somebody walked up to him and was like, "Hey, how tall are you?"
Yeah.
And he's like, "Why?" And then I guess they put something next to him and they were like, "Come with me." And then they were like, we need somebody to get in the suit.
Yeah.
And he was like, "Wait a second, is this Boba Fett suit?" And he was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "We need you to get in this. We need to film some scenes."
Yeah. I mean, sometimes those opportunities at ILM just were, they came to us, and they were always fun to take advantage of when you were offered a chance to be on, to wear one of the costumes and be in the scene.
How did your chance come? Did they just do the same thing they asked you to try it on? Well,
what we were doing, so we did the Jedi Rocks sequence for Return of the Jedi Special Edition, which was the Max Rebo band and the dancing women or alien women, and
the one with the big lips.
Yeah, right. Sice Noodles and then they created this CG character named Joe Yowza.
Yes.
Like a Yuzum. And so we did that scene. We shot that at ILM on the main stage, and I was actually one of the musicians. I was Doda Boda Nawido. How they came up with that name, I'm not sure, but he's like a Rhodian horn player that, along with my colleague Don Bees, was the Bith alien that was also on the horns. And so we kind of kicked the number off at the beginning. And anyway, I think at some point, and George was there that day, he was directing this sequence. And I think they decided they wanted to have a little moment with Boba Fett and one of with the dancing girls, like he was flirting with them or something. And so Don Bees, he sort of was the archivist at the time, and so he had the keys to the archives, and he said, "I can go get the costume. It'll take me a little while. I'll be right back." So he went and got a Boba Fett costume, brought it back, and that afternoon, I think it was that same afternoon, he got in the costume. He said, "I'll get it," but I get to wear it. So, anyway, so he got in the costume, and they had a moment. There's a moment where Boba kind of taps
her on the face.
Yeah. So that was Dawn. That was Dawn's 15 minutes of fame. And then there was, I think not that same day, maybe a few days later, we were doing a shoot on another stage at ILM, and they decided that they needed a scene where Boba Fett is just it's in Jabba's palace. Jabba is snoozing. The slave girl is dancing out there, and everybody is just kind of a sleepy moment. And Boba is just kind of patrolling through, just kind of walking around and standing guard and looking and stuff. And so our wardrobe person said, "Nelson, you're up. You get to do it this time." And so anyway, so that was kind of how that happened. Yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's there's like a Facebook group page that I follow on Instagram. They're called Imperial Walker Inc. And they did a signature series, I think it was last year or the year before, with Don Bees. And they had this thing where you sign like a Funko Pop.
Oh,
but
right.
It was Boba Fett's body from like here down, and then it was Don's face from that edition.
Right.
And I saw that and couldn't. Yeah, you've seen it?
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah.
Yeah. I couldn't stop laughing, and I instantly bought it and got the signature, and I put it because I have like a shelf dedicated just to Boba Fett. So that was part of my Boba Fett collection. But I always laugh when I see the behind the scenes photos, because when you see that scene where he's going like this to her on the face, you would never envision who's inside the costume.
I know.
And then when they show you the photo of just Don with his beard and glasses.
Yeah.
You're like, wait a second, that was Boba Fett?
Yeah, I know. Yeah. It's funny.
Yeah, it is funny. So, you are part of the 3 official people who have operated on R2D2?
Yeah, well, during at one time there were 3 of us at ILM that were sort of officially sanctioned to operate R2D2. You know, when you get to the actual shooting of the films, you've got entire crews, droid crews and stuff like that that are
Yeah.
like whether it's in Leavesden in London or Fox Studios Australia, you've got crews that will be there to run all the droids. But there was kind of a period of time where the only 3 of us that were officially allowed to do it for like commercials, live appearances, promotions, that kind of thing, TV shows, were Don Bees, myself, and Grant Imahara, who of Mythbusters fame, who went on. He worked with us for many years in the model shop, and then went on to be a Mythbuster. So,
wow.
Sadly, he has passed too, which was it was very sad.
I'm sorry to hear that.
Early. Yeah. But yeah, so there were 3 of us that used to operate R2 for these various functions.
Okay. I did see that this weekend there was it was a 50th anniversary of ILM like gathering.
Yeah, I think it was the correct. Let's see. I guess it was sort of when a 50-year anniversary of like ILM kind of starting out in Van Nuys, California.
Okay.
And
were you able to attend?
No, I didn't go to that. I think it was very limited attendance. So I would have loved to have, but I did not get to go. Dominic went though.
Yeah, he told me.
Yeah.
Oh, they should have invited you. That's not nice. We're gonna send a petition letter.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So, you recently had told me that you have now retired from ILM.
Right.
So, roughly how many years were you working with them?
Boy, like I said, the very first time I worked for them was in '88. And then I was with them until they moved to the Presidio in San Francisco. And they sold the model, stage, and camera departments to another investor. And so I was probably like 16 years at least, 16, 18 years, something like that. And then we continued on as Kerner Optical. After that, we continued to do films for ILM. They would subcontract us out to do some of the miniature work and things like that. But they didn't take the practical departments with them.
Okay.
Changing times. Yeah, it was that was when things were really pretty much going mostly digital. Although as Kerner Optical, we hung around for another 5 years, I think, something like that, and still continued to practice our craft.
I've actually been to the Presidio in San Francisco.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. It actually it brought tears to my eyes. I couldn't stop crying. I sat next to the Yoda fountain. I was hysterical.
Yoda statue. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. It's funny. You see it in pictures and you're like, oh man, that's really cool. But then physically being there and seeing ILM, I was just like, wow. And I just couldn't stop crying. A security guard saw me and they were like, are you okay? And I was like, it's really pretty here.
Yeah, I know.
And then I went to that outside area that kind of looks like Naboo. Yeah, that whole area was just absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
So tell us about Indiana Jones and the Kingdom of Crystal Skull. I enjoyed that film.
Yeah, that was speaking of Kerner Optical. Our model shop worked on that when we were Kerner Optical, but we worked on it for Lucasfilm. I was on the crew once again carving urethane foam. I was one of the model makers that made the actual temple, the Temple of Akator.
Yeah.
And so that was quite a detailed carving job because we had to carve these little, brick stones. And the model was, it was probably I don't know, 12, 14 feet across and maybe 7 feet tall or something. So it was a lot of area to sculpt, but it was fun. Yeah, we enjoyed that.
Do you continue model building at home?
No, not so much. Mostly doing projects around the house and in the garden and things like that these days. But maybe I'll try to get back to doing some of my own art or something at some point. That's a goal to shoot for, I think. Yeah.
Now, I know, let me see if I'm going to show the screen. You are going to be doing some cons.
Yeah, so I am going to be first in June 19th through 21. I'm going to be at the ICC Con in Nashville.
Yes, I
Yeah,
see
there
here.
I am. Yeah.
That's definitely a fun show. I've been to their shows numerous of times. They always have like a wide range of different people from either Star Wars or just anything sci-fi.
Yeah.
So yeah, and there's gonna be a few people there as well. I like it. You're probably gonna run into a few people that you probably have crossed paths with before.
Yeah. Well, hopefully, I think Lauren Peterson and Howie Weed are going to be there, and they're both friends and colleagues of mine.
Yeah.
So I look forward to seeing them there. Yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely going to be a fun show. I know that there's like a lot of people that are going to be part of it. So, yeah, if anybody hears from Nashville or going to be in Nashville around that time, I highly recommend checking it out. There's a wide range of celebrities that are going to be there. And if you see Nelson, make sure to get an autograph.
Yeah, please come meet me. And then I'm also going to be at Dominic's show, the New England Toy and Record Super Show on October 17th and 18th, which is in Dover, New Hampshire.
Here, let me zoom into that. Yeah, he was telling me about it, and I was telling him that I'm making sure, like, in we like football at our house, so I'm just making sure, football scheduling wise, that it doesn't constrict with us. So I'm definitely going to be attending the show. Yeah, Dominic was telling me this is the New England Toy and Record Show.
Yeah,
he tells me that it's pretty wild.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to be a great time to be in New England in the fall. So that should be fun.
Oh yeah. I always feel like I live in Florida, and I feel like every toy show that I've been to here, it's constantly always been kind of the same thing. So recently I've been traveling to other states and just seeing how those toy shows go. And I feel like the fans out there are amazing. They are diehard Star Wars fans.
Yeah, that'd be cool. I just did the Mexico City one too, which was earlier this month.
So, okay. How was that?
That was great. The Mexican fans were very passionate about it, and so it was great to have so many people excited about Star Wars and such down there. Yeah.
Do you get a lot of people that? I was gonna say, do you get a lot of people who like talk to you at the conventions and like have so many questions to ask you?
Yeah, they do, and of course, and when you're in a different country, if they don't speak a lot of English, it can be a little tough because you have to kind of go through a translator and that sort of thing. But we managed, we got through it, and some people spoke pretty good English, so it was. And unfortunately, my Spanish is not very good, so it was great. It was really a lot of fun to see those fans.
That's awesome. So I usually always end my show where I like to ask if there's any piece of advice that you would give to anybody that wanted to get into model making, and just kind of do what you did. What type of advice would you give to them?
Well, I mean, of course, in terms of model making now, and there's not a lot of it being done for the purpose of making movie visual effects and stuff. There is a little bit. Even in The Mandalorian, they've been using a shooting model for like the Razor Crest spaceship. A friend of mine, John Goodson, colleague, made that. But I would say, but just if you're interested in making models, if you can find other people that share that passion, and sometimes it's good to find somebody who's like very proficient at it and good, and maybe have them mentor you a little bit, give you the thing about like working at ILM was just amazing because people did not hoard information. They shared it. If they had some, wonderful tip about how to do something, they would share that with you, and they would, so it was a great recipe for success. And so I think just, finding a group of people that like to do the same thing and sharing information. And there's a lot of great stuff out there these days with like YouTube and, everything else about how to do things. So, you could look into things like that, I imagine.
Yeah. Like I said to you before, when I was younger, I watched Star Wars and absolutely was obsessed, still am obsessed with Star Wars. But then later on, when I got to watch a lot of the behind the scenes, I honestly think they would have never been able to do any of this stuff if it wasn't for you guys. I watched the documentary that was on Disney Plus, and I've read a lot of the books in regards to behind the scenes of Star Wars. Yeah. And honestly, if it wasn't for you guys at ILM, visually, anything that had to take place with those films, you guys deserve more credit than what you guys are getting.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. I mean, yeah, it was an amazing think tank and creative, situation with people. Somebody always knew how to solve a problem, or you could always figure out. It takes a village, and we definitely were a good village there as far as being able to create magic. On the big screen. So it really was a team effort.
I like it. It was a team of people who wanted to just create magic and have fun.
Yeah. A lot of those people are still, we're kind of like family in a way. We still get together and have reunions, and
that's awesome.
Things like that. So, we were a tight bunch.
Yeah. Well, I'm hoping for Star Wars Celebration, they do something for you guys, because like I said it, without you guys, there wouldn't be the continuation of Star Wars and how many fans love it. But I hope to see you guys at Celebration. It would be amazing for them to give you guys some sort of recognition.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I hope so. I would appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, guys, I just want to say, Nelson, thank you so much for joining on. Again, guys, if you're going to ICC in June, make sure to stop by Nelson's table, say hi to him. You can literally get so many items signed, anything from ILM, from Boba Fett, Stormtroopers, R2-D2, anything from Attack of the Clones. And also, if you're going to be in New England, I definitely recommend that show in October. But again, Nelson, thank you so much for joining.
Oh, you're welcome. Yeah, I had fun. This was fun.
Do you have an Instagram page, or do you have any social media accounts?
I'm not huge on social media. I do have an Instagram account, and I have a Facebook account. I used to be more on Facebook. I've kind of gotten away from it for a while, but I might try to get out there again.
Okay.
Get on social media. Yeah.
Well, guys, make sure to check out of This Galaxy's talent agency Instagram. You guys will be able to see all the events that they're doing with all their talent. Nelson's part of that group as well. So if you guys ever want to know what type of cons or where he's going to be at, you guys can check out their Instagram page. Yeah, Nelson, thank you again. And I appreciate you being part of this.
Yeah, thank you, Nilda. I appreciate it. It was fun.
Thanks. Yeah. All right, guys, as always, may the force be with you. And I will see you guys this Sunday for our next interview. Bye.